So the play I decided to read for extra credit was or is Playground Gruesome Injuries by Rajiv Joseph. So I'm going to be performing the first scene by myself. There's two characters, and yeah, I'm really excited. So I'm gonna show that and then I'll discuss it after.
What happened to your face? I fell.
Why?
I don't know. Did it hurt? A little. I have a stomach ache. Sometimes food makes me sick. My mom says it's because I have bad thoughts. Like what? Bad thoughts. Like about Dracula? About stomachs. I have bad thoughts about Dracula.
Yeah.
Blood tastes funny. It tastes like fruit. It does not. Have you ever cut your face open? No. I get cut all the time by accident. I like the nurse's office. It is dark and it is quiet. I had a stomach ache when I went and saw the movies. I like the movies. Except when I come home and there is sun. I had 3 big Cokes and I had gummy worms. I like to swallow them like real worms. Why do you have so much blood? Because I fell. Why'd you fall? I rode my bike off the roof. What roof? This roof. The school roof? Yeah. Why? I was playing Evel Knievel. What's Evel Knievel? He's a motorcycle guy. That's how I broke my face. Your face isn't broken, it's just cut. Sister Mary Pat said I broke my face. Does it hurt? One time I went ice skating with my brothers and I fell in the ice and this girl skated by me and her skate cut my eye open and I was bleeding all in my eye. I couldn't see because all the blood. Did it hurt? No, because the eyelid is small even though there is a lot of blood. I have a scar on my eyelid. Girls don't get scars. Yes, we do. How come? If you rode your bike off the roof, then how did you get your bike on the roof? I climbed up a tree. You took your bike with you up the tree? Yeah. Why? So I could ride it off the roof. And then you rode your bike off the roof? Yeah. You're stupid. I am not. Yes, you are. Shut up. You shut up.
Why?
Can I touch it? Okay. Gross!
So honestly, when I'm reading a play, I normally like plays and obviously musicals with large casts. I just think it's more interesting. So that's one of the reasons that I'm actually like in awe about this play because I really loved it. Like I fell in love with this play. And here's why. So there are 2 characters, Kayleen and Doug. The cool thing about this is that it shows different ages. So the play starts when they're 8 years old in the nurse's office. Here you learn that Kayleen has stomach problems and Doug comes in and basically talks about how he likes to do things and he always has his face split open, and that's kind of a clue into like, that's the first time that they meet. And it's the play that you just watched, or the scene that you watched that I redid. Also, you learn towards the end the reason why she touches his face. Like, that's a foreshadow on the rest of the play and the rest of the times that Doug gets hurt or is in the hospital. The next scene occurs when they are 23 and Doug is in the hospital room because he has exploded his eyeball out with fireworks. That he should not be alone. He shouldn't be alone with like explosives. But Kayleen enters and basically like says that you're gonna do this like the day before I have to bury my dad. Again, Doug asks her to touch his eyeball and she refuses, and then they get in a really big fight, which is a common theme of this play because they don't have a really good relationship. Like, they care about each other immensely, but, like, it's not healthy. So the next scene is when the kids are 13. It's their dance, like a dance at school, and Kayleen is in the, like, a room because she doesn't feel good, and Doug comes to find her, of course. And he starts talking about, like, first kisses and, like, she hasn't had hers, he hasn't had one, so he proposes that they could share their first kiss together. She's like, no, then it wouldn't be like a practice kiss, but they do anyway, and he dances with her, and it's really cute. The next scene is really short. It's when they are 28, and Doug is in a coma in the hospital, and Kayleen's never seen him like this before, and she basically comes in and touches him and starts, like, showing jealousy. She talks about Elaine and how, like, he was about to get married and all this stuff, and you can tell that, like, she really cares because she doesn't cry in front of people willingly, and this is, like, a really vulnerable part in the play, and it's probably one of my favorite scenes just because it's so raw and vulnerable, especially from her, and I just love her character so much. The next scene is when the kids are 18, and it's in Kayleen's room. Doug comes to see her, and basically she tells him about her abusive boyfriend, and he wants to kill him, and, like, she shows him, like, her cutting herself, and he ends up doing it too, just so he can feel the pain, and that's also a really vulnerable, like, part in the play. It sounds, like, really fucked up, and, I mean, it is, but, yeah. So the next scene is when they are 33 and Kayleen's in, like, a mental health facility, and Doug comes to see her, and basically they get in another argument, and he says that when he was in his coma that he could feel her, and she's like, I wasn't there, even though she was. Yeah. Turns out into, like, this beautiful thing where she shows him the scar where she cut her stomach, and they reminisce about the angel on top of the roof from the first scene. I didn't do the whole first scene, but Doug always calls Kayleen his guardian angel, and she has healing powers, and that's why he always, when he is her, asks her to touch him, and he basically says, I wish I had that power for you. The next scene is when they are 23, and it's the night of her dad's wake, and Doug, she's sitting on the porch smoking, and Doug comes to see her, and basically she's like, you missed the wake, and he's like, can tell she's upset, and basically goes off about her dad and calls him some things about how he never got to see how beautiful his daughter was, and it was really cute, and he kisses her, and it's kind of like a really bittersweet moment. The final scene is actually really sad. It's at an ice rink, and Doug is, like, in the worst shape possible. They're 38, and he's in a wheelchair, and basically in the middle of the scene, he usually begs Kayleen to touch him and, like, heal him, and she tries to now, and he's like, don't touch me, like, do not touch me, Kayleen, which is, like, really, it was sad reading, to be honest. The next scene, scene 7, is when they are 23, and it is the night after Kayleen's dad's wake, and Doug comes to see her. She's sitting on a porch, smoking a cigarette, and he comes up, and she's like, you know, you missed the wake, and he starts talking to her, and then he asks her to dance, and they dance, and he leans in and kisses her and tells her he loves her, and she pulls away, of course, because that's what Kayleen does. But then she asks why he didn't come, like, looking for her, and he's like, I did. I went to your house where, you know, your dad never liked me, and I asked for you, and he didn't know where you were, and he said that, he's like, I went off on him and told him that he is the most beep, 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 and he basically just goes off on her dad because he doesn't realize how beautiful she is, and it's really cute. So then the 8th and final scene is when they're 38, and Doug is in a wheelchair. They're at the rink. She comes to look for him, and they just sit down and don't talk for a while and just stare at the ice, and eventually she's like, I just need to touch you, and, like, because she finally believes her power that she can help, like, heal him, and he's like, don't touch me, and, like, so they kind of reverse, because usually he's the one that's like, please heal me, and he's finally just done, and which is really sad, and they just sit there and talk and reminisce about the good old days, and honestly, it's not the ending I wanted at all, but it's, like, kind of bittersweet, and I feel like it's realistic, because in life, you know, not everything always works out. I feel like everyone, especially me, is like, it always works out the way it's supposed to, but like sometimes I feel like it doesn't. And it's a really bittersweet play. I chose this play because I never read it and I've done a scene from it. The scene I talked about earlier when Doug is in the coma. I performed that in New York when we had the workshop, and it's a really like powerful play, and I feel like I was supposed to read the play, but I never did, but now I did, so yay. It's an overdone monologue, but it's so, if you like do it right and perform it right, I'd like to do it now since I've grown as an artist since then, but I just can relate to Kayleen in a lot of ways. I feel like just the way she is in her character, and sadly, but you know, she's just like this strong woman, and regardless of anything, and I just like really fell in love with her character. I didn't really know anything about it. I kind of like Googled like what her character was like, because obviously I did a monologue from it and his, and I knew it was like a 2-person play. And the one thing I really liked about it is that like it says in the stage directions that the characters are supposed to like change their clothes and everything on stage, which is probably a really cool like how it looks, like you can see, because obviously they jump from age to age, like it doesn't go in chronological order, which I really like, because I feel like if executed correctly it could be really cool at like the creative ways that they change and how they like switch scenes, and yeah, so I really liked that. Some of the themes of the play, I would have to say just like love, and not in like the typical way, because the way Kayleen and Doug show their love for each other is not normal, and to be honest, it's kind of toxic, because they never really dealt with it right. I don't think personally, not that I'm judging them, because such is life, but mental health is a really big part of it. Kayleen struggles with cutting and stomach and anxiety, I'm assuming, issues, things that people deal with like on a daily basis. And I don't really know what's going on with Doug, because he likes to do this stuff for like attention, so I guess there could be themes of like home life too, because like these kids don't come from like healthy homes with healthy parents, and that is something that I feel like in a lot of plays is overlooked and not talked about. I just really like the rawness of this play, and there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't like to address, like eating disorders and cutting, and as a mental health advocate and things that I've dealt with in like my own personal life, I just think it's really cool that it's talked about on stage, because a lot of times people like to filter things, and you can't really filter eating disorders because they're not pretty, and that's okay, and it's how you overcome those things and deal with life. And I just feel like it was like a really real play. Like I could really like feel the emotion involved.